And we're live. Today I'm taking you to Angkor Wat, the main temple. I'm really excited. Susan's here. Hey Susan. And yeah, hope everyone's well. So we're gonna start at the entrance, and then we're going to right at the back there's a huge moat. So we're gonna go through the whole of Angkor. You're gonna be able to see where people come for that sunrise. It's actually a very, very small area, and I just want to show you, this is the flag of Cambodia, and you can see that Angkor Wat, the main temple, the one that we're visiting today, is on the Cambodian flag. Welcome everyone. Welcome Lethargy, welcome Tish, welcome Susan, welcome others. Thanks so much for your patience, because I know that I was gonna do this tour a couple of weeks back, but had a really bad headache. So, hey Susan. So, let's go to Angkor. So that's the flag. So yeah, let's begin. We're gonna, just a couple of things before we start. So when you go to Angkor Wat, if you want to visit Angkor Wat, you have to go to a little city called Siem Reap in Cambodia, and from there you can book a tour or a tuk-tuk that will take you around all the temples. And of course, the main temple in Angkor Wat is the Angkor Wat temple. That's the one we're going to see today, and it is spectacular. So let's begin. I may stop just to show you some cool things that I saw at the airport in Thailand. Well, let's begin. Here we are, the entrance to Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat is a Hindu Buddhist temple complex in Cambodia, located on a site that measures 162.6 hectares, or about 402 acres, within the ancient Khmer capital of Angkor. And the structure we see before us, the main temple of Angkor, is considered as the largest religious structure in the world by the Guinness Book of World Records, and it is massive. Welcome Diane. Okay, we just had the freeze a little bit. If you want to take postcards, remember I'll leave all the videos up so you can come back and get those postcards. So here we're entering here. Sorry, someone's calling me, so the video keeps on freezing. So it was originally constructed as a Hindu temple, dedicated to the deity Vishnu, and we'll be able to see some of the artwork and talk about that when we get to it. But it has gradually been transformed into a Buddhist temple towards the end of the century. There was, we'll talk about that more a little bit later. The Angkor Wat, the whole complex, has a very interesting history. Where the religion changed from Hinduism to Buddhism. So Angkor Wat was built at the behest of the Khmer king, King S II, in the early 12th century, here in present day Angkor. And it was built as the capital of the Khmer Empire, as the state temple and eventual mausoleum. Angkor Wat combines two basic plans of Khmer temple architecture: the Temple Mountain and later the Galleried Temple. So when we go inside shortly, you'll be able to see how high it is and how tall it gets. And Oh, here we go. Okay, I wanna stop here and tell you about this. So this is a story. It's called the Churning of the Milk. This is a story from Hinduism. So I'm gonna tell you a little about this. This is really interesting. So every religion has its angels and demons, always at war, struggling to overcome one another. But what if there was peace between the two eternal antagonists? That's the ancient Sanskrit epic, the churning of the ocean of the milk, that is depicted there on that relief behind us. We'll have a look at it. Welcome, Cheryl. So we're going to look at that bas relief, and I'll tell you a bit more about it because it's central. So there you can see it. It's called the Churning of the Ocean of the Milk, a story about gods and demons working together to recover a lost elixir of immortality. So in the middle there, that's Lord Vishnu. So on one side we've got the devils, and on the other side is the angels, and then Vishnu's in the middle, and they're using a snake to churn the ocean, which as it churns turns into milk. So it's this scene that's captured the imagination of the Khmer builders of Angkor Wat, and it's depicted in an intricate 50-meter stone carving that you see right now, with 88 guards, 92 demons, all working together to attain immortality, because they want to get the stone of immortality. 900 years later, it continues to inspire us, carrying forward the legacy of those who built it and offering tantalizing insights into their world view. Susan says, looks like tug of war. That's exactly what it is. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the scene. So the scene from the relief is recorded in multiple Hindu scriptures, including the ancient Sanskrit epic. The story opens with the demonic asuras in ascendance, so they're really strong. The demons have the upper hand, and then the devas, who are like the angels, having lost power and fortune and fearing damage from the demons might inflict onto the universe. Desperately they seek guidance from Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu tells them to make peace with the demons and to work with them to churn the ocean of milk, to recover something called the Amrita, or the lost elixir of immortality. So the demons and the angels agree to assist, provided they share this Amrita, this gift elixir, or this elixir of immortality once it's recovered. And so an accord is reached, and the two sides get to work. Demons on one side, and the angels or the gods on the other side, and they're each pulling, tugging, churning the rock. So these gods and demons, no ordinary rock would do. Instead, Mount Madara was conscripted to serve as a churning rod, and the Serpent King Vasuki was tied along the mountain to serve as a churning string. So he's like the rope from the tug of war. And so the demons on one side, the angels on the other, they pull back and forth, twisting the mountain, therefore churning the waters into like a primordial ocean, of the primordial waters into a primordial ocean of soup. And that's what's depicted. Susan's asking, are they all male figures? I believe they are. So as the ocean is churned, treasures emerge, including eventually the elixir of immortality, or the Amrita. And with it in their grasp, the fragile peace between the gods and the demons disintegrates, and the demons seize the elixir for themselves. However, the angels have one final trick up their sleeves, and Vishnu and tricks the demons and convincing them to give him his goddess form the elixir, which she then takes to the angels, and then the angels are restored to their full strength and defeat the demons. So that's pretty much the story of the churning of the milk. The story is often regarded as an allegory illustrating the superior qualities embodied by the angels or the gods. Like the asuras are driven by worldly desires such as lust, greed, and ego, while the devas, on the other hand, are more concerned with seeking knowledge and understanding of spiritual truths. This differing orientation is the only thing that distinguishes the deva from the asura, or the angel from the demon, and the conflicting values of the devas and asuras are made even more explicit in the story. So that's a little insight into the mind and the story, Sanskrit story. There you can see the top of the temple. We're going to walk all the way up to the top. Yeah, so Angkor Wat was built at the behest of the Kumar king, King S II, in the early 12th century, as the capital of the Kumar Empire, as the state temple, and eventually a mausoleum. It was designed to represent Mount Meru in Hindu mythology, and is surrounded by a moat, which we'll see later towards the end. So it's got a moat that's about 5 kilometers long, or 3.1 miles long. And then it's enclosed with an outer wall of 3.6 kilometers, or 2.2 miles long. And each of these walls raises the platform that Angkor Wat sits on. Now, the temple fell into disuse before being restored in the 20th century, with various international agencies involved in the project. The temple is admired for the grandeur and the harmony of the architecture and its extensive bas reliefs. So we saw that with the churning of the milk, but there's more here as we climb up to the top. The Angkor Wat area was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1992. It is regarded as one of the best examples of Khmer architecture and a symbol of Cambodia. You can see it on the Cambodian flag. We saw it. Actually, I showed you the flag at the beginning. Let me see if I... Yeah, well, if you just go to the beginning of the live stream, you can see the flag. Lethargy says the stairs are treacherous. Yeah, yes they are. You have to, it's pretty hectic walking. It is like an olden day skyscraper. So it's depicted on the Cambodian flag. It's a major tourist attraction, and before COVID, it was attracting about 2.5 million visitors a year, and of course, You know, that big Hollywood movie Lara Croft Tomb Raider, also being shot in Cambodia at Angkor Wat, was a big event and just put Angkor Wat on the map. Now everybody knows it, and it's one of the places in the world that you have to visit, and it's world famous now. So let's get into a little bit about the construction of Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat was commissioned by the Khmer King S II, who ruled from 1113 to 1150. That's in the early 12th century. The construction of the temple commenced in 1111 BC, so almost 1,000 years ago, and it was completed in 1150. So it took about 28 years to construct. Now, the temple was dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. That's why we've got that relief we saw of, I love this light. That's why we saw the story of the churning of the milk with Vishnu at the center. And the original religious motifs were derived from Hinduism. It was built as the king's state temple in the capital city, and while there are no foundation stelae or any contemporary inscriptions referring to the temple's name that have been found, it's just known as Angkor Wat. But this is the interesting about Angkor Wat and the whole complex, is the switch of history, switch of religion from Hinduism to Buddhism. In 1177, approximately 27 years after the death of King S II, Angkor was sacked by the Chams, the traditional enemies of the Khmer, and thereafter the Khmer Empire was restored by King Jay VII, who established a new capital at Angkor Thom and the Bayon. So Bayon, I think, is where the Tomb Raider temple is. But with that, he now had a different religion. So the temple was dedicated to Buddhism, and as his wife was a devout Buddhist. And Angkor Wat was then therefore gradually converted into a Buddhist site, with many Hindu sculptures replaced by Buddhist art. So a lot of art, even here at Angkor Wat, was taken away or smashed and then replaced with Buddhist art. Similar to what you see in South America, the Spanish came in, would smash up the religious temples and then build a church on top, or use some of the building to build a church on top. Similar thing happening here in Angkor Wat, where Hinduism gets replaced with Buddhism, and then the structure stays, but all the statues are changed. So after the transformation from a Hindu center of worship to a Buddhist center of worship towards the end of the 12th century, this really affected Angkor, and Angkor Wat actually continues to be a Buddhist center till present day. Arrived to visit Angkor in the 13th and 4th century. But by the 16th century, it was largely neglected, although it was never completely abandoned. And then in the 17th century, that's when we see Japanese Buddhist pilgrims coming to visit Angkor Wat and establishing small settlements alongside the Khmer locals. Now, the Europeans, the first Western visitor to the temple was Antonio da Madalena, a Portuguese friar who visited in 1586 and said that it is of such extraordinary construction that it is not possible to describe it with a pen, particularly since its alignments which human genius can conceive of. Then in 1860, the temple was effectively rediscovered by a French naturalist, an explorer, Henry Moreau, who, with help from a French missionary, Father Charles, popularized the site in the West through the publication of travel notes, in which he wrote, "One of these temples, a rival to that of Solomon, and erected by some ancient Michelangelo, might take an honorable place beside our most beautiful buildings. It is grander than anything left to us by the Greeks or the Romans, and presents a sad contrast to the state of barbarism in which the nation is now plunged." I love reading these old descriptions, and when you come here and you can read those descriptions, it's quite you can almost feel what they felt. So Moho's work was published after he passed in 1864 through the Royal Geographic Society, with descriptions of Angkor under the title Travels in Central Parts of Indochina, Siam, which is Thailand, and Cambodia and Laos. In 1861, German anthropologist Adolf Bastian undertook a 4-year trip to Southeast Asia, and his account of his trip, titled The People of East Asia, ran to 6 volumes and was published in 1868. The books detailed Angkor monuments but lacked drawings of the Angkorian sites, so sometimes you do need pictures to tell a story, so it's hard to imagine, hey Raven, something until you see it yourself, or you see a drawing, you see a picture. Interestingly enough, France adopted Cambodia as a protectorate on the 11th of August 1863, partly due to the artistic legacy of Angkor Wat and other Khmer monuments in the Angkor region. And they also invaded Siam, or modern-day Thailand. This quickly led to Cambodia reclaiming lands in the northwestern corner of the country, which includes Siem Reap, where we are now, Battambang, and other areas. Susan says 6 volumes, or almost a lifetime worth of reading. Yes. Now I'm here at Angkor Wat. This is at just before the sun sets, but a very popular thing to do is to come to Angkor for the sunrise, and I'm going to show you where you can do that, and it's actually a very, very small place. Now I booked to actually go on a sunrise tour and to watch the sunrise from Angkor Wat, but I ended up oversleeping. I was really tired, so I missed that, sadly. So there we are. Now we're looking, so I've walked down now, and we're having a look at the complex from the other side. So let's talk about restoration. In the 20th century, a considerable effort was launched to clear the plant overgrowth and restore the temple complex, because the whole area of Angkor is jungle, and it's like we saw at the Tomb Raider temple. It's almost completely, there's like trees growing in the temple. Nature is like overtaken. So of course, the French being there, the Angkor French organization called the Angkor Conservancy was established by the French in 1908. This conservation group was responsible for research, conservation, and restoration activities. So they started in 1908, and they carried on restoration in Angkor until the early 70s, with major restoration works undertaken in the 60s. Now, the reason why they stopped in the 70s was because it was a civil war, so that's when they left. So Cambodia gained independence from France on the 9th of November 1953, and has controlled Angkor Wat since then. So the Cambodians have had control of the country. Oh, you can see the fish. Now, where we are now, standing, this is where you come at sunrise. And it's not actually that big an area. It's a small pond. And I always imagined it in my mind, because you always see those pictures of people at Angkor Wat at sunrise, and the sunrise is behind those towers. You always imagine it to be like a massive area, but it really isn't. It's quite a small area, and this is where we're standing right now, and this is where you would come if you're coming to Angkor to watch the sunrise. I think you'll get a better sense. It really is not that big. Susan's asked, do any monks live there present? I didn't see any monks, but definitely there's a lot of pilgrims visiting. Pilgrims along with tourists. Yes, and there are monkeys. So that's the shot. This is the if you want a daytime version of the sunrise shot, this is it. So it's really epic. You've got this massive walkway that leads you to the temple. And for me, like, my impression of it, climbing it, I was like, wow, this is like it's an olden day skyscraper. It really is this massive building that goes up so high, built almost 1,000 years ago. Yeah, just really awe-inspiring to behold. So the restoration work was interrupted by the Cambodian Civil War, which happened during the 70s and the 80s. And work on Angkor was abandoned during that era, and the conservation of Angkor, that French organization, was disbanded in 1975. Now, the rogue forces used whatever wood remained in the building structures for firewood, and there were even shootouts between the rogue and Vietnamese forces, which caused a few bullet holes in some of the bas reliefs. In the late 80s and early 90s, far more damage was done to the reliefs by art thieves working out of Thailand, who would lop off many of the sculptures and other structures. And here we are. So here we are at the moat. So a lot of the big temples at Angkor Wat have these massive moats that surround them. And it makes it look like it's floating in water. It's beautiful. So, as with most other ancient sites in Cambodia, Angkor Wat has also faced extensive damage and deterioration from a combination of plant overgrowth, fungi, ground movements, war damage, theft through war damage, But they put a lot of work into restoring it. Other groups have also been involved. Between 1986 and 1992, the Archaeological Survey of India carried out restoration work on the temple, and then in 1992 the site was declared a World Heritage Site. Isn't that beautiful? You see the massive amount of water, this huge moat, and then you can see Angkor in the distance. Just the scale of it is massive. Now in the 21st century. So Susan's asking a great question. How much does it cost to visit? So that depends. So for Angkor, there's 3 types of tickets you can get. So the one is a 1-day ticket, or you can get a 3-day ticket, or a 10-day ticket. Now, you don't need to use them on consecutive days, but if you just want to come to Cambodia for 1 day, I'm going to show you now. I want to show you some photos this is actually from the airport in Thailand. This is the churning of the milk, a slightly smaller version, but like beautifully done. So if you want to visit Angkor, if you want a 1-day pass, that's $37. For a 3-day pass, it's about $62, and then for a 7-day pass, $72. And you can buy a ticket online as well. They make it really easy. So here's the story of the churning of the milk. But beautiful, like they've just brought to life. This is, I think, for me, seeing it in the airport just brought it more to life. Here's the next picture. And there you can see Lord Vishnu at the top, and they're each holding the snake and just churning the mountain and churning the milk at the bottom, the ocean of milk. And just really, like, I saw this and I thought I need to take a photo of this, because this is a real nice visualization of the relief that we saw, and I wanted to show you that to you. I'm just trying to close. Okay. There. I'm just trying to close the pictures. Yeah, so that's Angkor Wat. I hope you got some great postcards. If you want to go back, just go back into the video. You can watch it at any time, get some great postcards. And we're going to be going live next week in an area called Siem Reap in Hong Kong. We're going to go, I'm just hoping it's not going to rain, before sunset. And it's a really interesting area. It's got a ton of markets, a lot of history, a lot of different places to visit. So I'm just really excited to take you there next week. That's live. And then the following week, I'm going to pre-record this, but they've got a special exhibition on the harbour front. It's an art exhibition. They've got these massive, giant, like, eggs that are luminous, and you can touch them. They change color, and there's music playing, and it's just amazing outdoor art exhibition. So those are 2 things that we're gonna check out. So please, if you want to have a look at Angkor Wat again, go back to the beginning. You can check it out. That's what's coming up for the next 2 weeks. Thanks so much for joining me, and if you subscribe to me and buy me a coffee, which is free, you would have got my email with those tours as well. Great, so thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next week. Have a great time, and I love Tish. Tish has put the Easter eggs in, and I'll see you then. Bye. Thanks so much, Tish, Lynn, Susan, Ronnie, Raven, Lethargy, Cheryl, Jay, good to see you, and Diane, and Adrian. Great to see you all. See you next time. Bye.